You can see the Florida Mayhem are just sort of cornered in here. Look at Rupal. He's trying to run away as the Nano comes through Danteh. He hasn't been able to find anyone just yet, but he's applying so much pressure. Choron's getting so low, but the sleep comes out from Rupal at the last second, and that is such an important thing as Danteh comes back. The sound barrier is able to come out from Choron, and they're contesting the point and slowly winning this fight. Such an important sleep from Rupal.
Oh, and I mean, this is totally on the Florida Mayhem support line if they're able to win this. Choron was so low, and Rupal hit a grenade from what seemed like a mile away, able to get him out, gets a sound.
This is just ridiculous Ana gameplay from both sides. They're having such high impact sleep so far, and it's making it impossible for these main tanks to do anything. But 83% for the Florida Mayhem. They have the Nano. They're going to go early with it onto someone. He's on the backline. He is able to dodge the sleep, take down Babel, takes down Choron. Now he's on Kai. That's 3 for someone, and that should be the first round, but there has been a flip from the Gladiators.
Yeah, they give up the point, but, you know, still, it's going to be difficult, right? As someone takes out 3 players. Look how far Danteh...
Now they have the Nano boost of their own. They want to keep going up with the tempo. Put it onto Danteh. He's going to have that primal rage because this should be last fight, and they're actually bunching up on the left side. If Danteh catches a whiff of this, he's going to go early and punish them for this sort of defensive style coming down the left side. They're all going to be caught in a narrow corridor.
Yeah, he just needs to be careful. It's almost like I feel like they're trying to bait a little bit. They have the sound barrier here to use as well. Sound barrier comes out as soon as that pulse bomb comes through, and they jump right on top of Babel. As that's been a few times they've been able to execute that. Asleep on a Danteh up top as the support's still playing well here for the Florida Mayhem as Florida wiping through the rest of the Gladiators here, which should be the final fight of the round. Kevster will get on contest, has to recall to get out. FunnyAstro gonna try and move on to the point. Try and contest as Gladiators will keep this one going. That's gonna actually be a Nano on the Kevster as maybe they can try and make something out of it. Another sleep.
Oh, that is just absolutely such an important sleep because Kevster had the recall. He was just about to go crazy, but with Kevster going down, they will not have the damage to be able to get anything done, and Florida Mayhem will take this first round. And if this is what the rest of the series is going to be like, you guys better buckle up because this is going to be a long one. I do want to go back to that fight, though, before where Gladiators, they had the Nano, they had the Primal, just playing so slowly. They didn't use the Primal or the Nano before they lost their own backline, so they're going to need to be more proactive if they're going to take down the Florida Mayhem. Such an aggressive team.
I feel like they almost just couldn't react, the Gladiators. So you can take a look here at someone's POV is, yeah, I mean, what do you do there, right? The bubble is inside of the doorway. You can't kind of, it's just removing everything that you can do as Ana. It's just that the dive came so much faster from Florida than I think that the Gladiators were prepared out the entire fight. Just a little bit longer than like losing one of them instantly, right? I feel like if you're able to do that, you know, you're coming out on top in a lot of these fights in different areas. As Kevster working around the outside here with a pulse bomb.
He's so dangerous. Somebody up. Kevster is him most of the time. He has been the reason for this Gladiator success, and this is exactly why. Takes down that backline pretty much single-handedly, zones them away with the pulse bomb. He's going to add merit for good measure. Never mind, Babel sold that one, but that is such a good dive from the Gladiators, and Kevster, this is what we know and expect from him. He's an MVP caliber Tracer player, and with Kai and Danteh firing at all cylinders with him, this dive is just so dangerous, and they need... And now Florida Mayhem, they drop their own Nano boost. Someone's in the back line. FunnyAstro responds with the sound barrier that's keeping them alive. They're just waiting on Danteh to get back, but Babel's under so much pressure, but FunnyAstro keeping him alive, as he always does.
Yeah, he gets it with a biotic grenade there, so they have to rotate out and just kind of wait this out a little bit. As sound barrier comes down here from Florida Mayhem, the effects of it will start to wear off. Oh, that is so unfortunate as he gets knocked right above the well, hit with a sleep dart. So Florida Mayhem will flip the point, but Gladiators do get 99, Scott. I will say that I'd love you. How difficult is this point to flip back, though, in your opinion?
It is quite difficult because there's so many avenues in which you can be flanked, and you can see Florida Mayhem setting up in that way. They're just everywhere on these high grounds, and it's going to be expensive for the Gladiators to step up. You need Kevster to hit a good pulse bomb off. Danteh gets slept and met with the high noon. He knows what time it is now, and that should be a hard reset from the Gladiators. Just accept that ultimate, accept that loss, and then come back. But Kevster gets staggered by Merit as well with a clean headshot.
Yeah, when the opposing team pushes up to like this area of the map, that's really when the flanking and whatnot becomes oppressive. Because you see like Danteh trying to get up on the high ground. There's staircases to the left, the right, you know, the high ground bridge here. I mean, so many different spots for the Gladiators you have to look and try and put pressure on to really make a play. As this, maybe there's one player on the point. This is kind of what you have to do, right? Drag players back with putting pressure on the point, and then kind of collapse. Chaotic grenade comes through, doesn't connect on everybody. This is going to be a Nano. Looks like on a Merit here, so jump straight across. It looks like one's on the Kai too, but it is Merit and someone cleaning it up.
That was an expensive fight, though. Someone did have to use the Primal, so they don't have much left in the tank while the Gladiators starting to get up into ultimates. Babel also did use their own Nano boost, so they don't have that engage tool for Danteh, so he's going to need to play carefully. But Kevster still has this Pulse Bomb. He hasn't been able to use it. They can't apply just any sort of pressure because of how much damage is coming out. The Kevster Pulse Bomb does go down, but onto someone and doesn't find a pick, as Florida Mayhem is just exerting their will onto the Gladiators as they just struggling to stay alive.
Yes, I think you were maybe trying to play there for the Gladiator sound barrier, and they're going to end up using it because 95% they gotta go as Danteh gets the effects, gets Primal, jumps over the top. He'll get the contest going.
Yeah, he gets the contest going, but you can see him knocking them around, but he does get Rupal. I don't know how he managed to get that kill, so now it's just in damage control. Someone is going to need to touch. It is Danteh, but he's so low right now. But Kevster's alive, and when Kevster's alive, anything is possible.
It's not looking good. As that's going to be Kai with a Deadeye. Doesn't connect with anything as everybody else just is falling here for the Gladiators. It's going to be Kevster on the point.
Oh,
He does
good
take out
dink.
someone from the death, but see, it's going to be nobody there to contest. As it is the Florida Mayhem keeping the strong play going, taking map
They're out to play a certain composition, and that's one thing that Chorong as an acquisition for this Florida Mayhem squad is super valuable. He can play the Ana if they want to play that double flex support. He has that ability to just sort of play everything. He was such a good rookie for Toronto, and now he's doing it even better on the Florida Mayhem, as we're going to see both teams walking out on the Ana Brig, though, on this first point.
Yes, Brig kind of on the table for both teams. The Cassidy here as well as I know no wide Brig yet as that patch is not in. As looks like take a bit of a dive here from the Gladiators.
Oh, big
That's
nade.
a big biotic grenade. Oh man, that did not look like it was going to be great for the Gladiators. Then hit from Bevel changed that.
Yeah, there was an interesting fight there by the Florida Mayhem, deciding to take the fight in the small corridor against the Gladiators.
Yep, that is a fight-winning play right there. So that's going to be the Gladiators taking point A basically instantly, and now they kind of work here through the streets phase, which I think is probably the hardest spot to get through.
But that fight win has a cascading effect, especially when you win that convincingly. Babel has the Nano boost already, while we only see Rupal at 60%. So there is a window here where the Gladiators can go before with an advantage over the Mayhem. They're opting to push the cart right now, though.
Like, do you just use it on, like, Danteh so he can get high ground and try and force them off of that back high ground? Like, this is such an odd part of the map, I feel like, to try and get big value out of it.
Especially against the Brig, and that's why they're probably opting against it if you are the Gladiators, because if you try and make that jump, these Overwatch League Brig players will just hit you with that whip shot. Right now, they're just trying to control space. The cart is slowly moving forward, so you are at an advantage, but this is the risk when you do that.
Yeah.
When you're just dilly-dallying around, them on the high ground, Merit is going to find a pick eventually. As we see, Danteh does get Nano, but gets slept. One player down, questionable decision to go for that one.
Yeah, like, why go so late with it, right? If that's kind of the strat in the play, and you're going to try and use this Nano to gain some type of high ground control, why wait till you have a player or two dead, right? It's probably something you could have used a little bit earlier. I think just looking at ultimates, you're probably thinking, okay, you want to use it closer to when Danteh's got Primal, right? And then you can kind of exist on that high ground for an extremely long time. But yeah, that is one I bet the Gladiators wish they had back.
Now it gets increasingly difficult as they're trying to dislodge this, Florida Mayhem squad from the high ground. Danteh is going to have to use his Primal. Doing a great job of being disruptive. Electric Cowboy, though, off the high ground.
No way. Oh, my. What a play there. As Merit getting knocked every which way. It doesn't matter. Uses the Deadeye, and he'll pick up a kill. That was... that is a use of Deadeye. Don't see many Deadeyes here in the Overwatch League that come up huge. Looks like maybe a pause here for Chorong, but
and make a balanced fight. As we do come out of this unpause, how are the Gladiators going to navigate around it? Because they also use their rally there. The only thing they have is a high noon. And unless Kai can get nanoed and end up on the roofs as well, that's going to be difficult to use.
Well, so you have a sig advantage on high ground, right, with your Cassidy, but you also have it in terms of, like, they can come up here, right? You can use this rally way more effectively. It's going to be difficult for Danteh if he was used on the other side in this type of situation for them to get big value out of it. But also the biotic grenades from the high ground are so much easier to get big value from. As this will be a primal here from someone. I mean, look at how he separates these players from each other. I mean, yeah, that is fantastic. As no, hey, this was 5 minutes plus on the clock, right? We're down at 2:30 here, and you know the Gladiators have been able to make no progress from this point.
And just so efficient as well. That was only their primal used, that Winston ultimate, to win that team fight. And Gladiators didn't really even have a fighting chance. They still have that rally in case ultimates do start to come out. Gladiators are trying to opt to push the card, but as soon as they step up, this happens again. Checkmate gets a great stick against Babel, and that's going to prompt a retreat from the Gladiators.
Yeah, I mean, it's the stick, right? But it's Danteh taking a ton of damage and getting hit with a biotic grenade.
Yeah.
You know, there's no opportunity to return there, right? Where, you know, Babel, like, how is he landing a big biotic grenade on the Florida Mayhem? Like, he's not going to, like, he doesn't have lineups, right? He's not going to stand and spawn and start lining it up, trying to drop it on the sky. Like, it's really difficult to, like, hit this. So you have a big advantage with this high ground here. It's another biotic grenade there. It hits Danteh and Kevster. I believe Kevster recalls, so it kind of falls off right away. But they're running out of time.
They do get the nano off. They got to opt to, they nano the Cassidy so he doesn't die to that pulse bomb. Danteh gets slept again. Oh, please stop doing this to Danteh. Leave Danteh alone. He goes down while slept to a high noon, and that's another team fight win for the Florida Mayhem. And they're just making it look easy and making it seem like the Gladiators have no options of how to approach this fight. They're trying to force their will onto this high ground with the Winston with either a nano boost or a primal rage, but every time they get up there, Rupal hits him with a sleep.
So what does a path to victory from like this type of perspective and this type of point in the map look like for the Gladiators? Like how are you going about trying to break this?
I think they need to start applying pressure in different directions. Right now, they're just going from the low ground up to the high ground, trying to apply this pressure. And you can see Danteh, this happens every single time he goes there. He tries to jump up, he takes a ton of damage, and then he eventually falls. Churong does pop the rally to give them that sustainability, but that's a net win if you're the Florida Mayhem. Once you have that advantage, you just go aggressive once again. We do see Lastro trying to pop the rally to keep themselves alive, but another wasted ultimate, it feels like, for the Gladiators.
Yeah, but this is what's difficult about using the rally here for the Gladiators, because you're playing from that low ground, right? And you're probably playing around the cart. The only real great uses of that rally is if you probably already lost the player and Florida is getting aggressive and taking the fight to the loaded ground, or you're forcing a fight on the cart. You're not able to force fights on the cart because you can't break this high ground setup, right? So you're never really in a great position of using that rally as someone with a primal rage, and here he comes. It's going to be Kai looking for a Widow shot. Just a grapple off the top. It looks like one person's going to get there to contest this payload here for the Gladiators, but you're going to lose Danteh again, but it's going to be Kevster answering back. A kill on the Chorong. Primal still going here for someone as he's going to lose, take out Kai, but I mean, look at that, Merit up on that high ground, and this is a really difficult spot. Tracer on one side, Winston on the other.
Oh, Kevster! What? I don't understand what happened. Kevster had an invisibility cloak. He just disappeared and then comes back in with a pulse bomb. The nano onto Lastro just keeps him alive long enough to sustain, and now in overtime, spawns are so long. Gladiators hit. They still have Kai on this Widowmaker, which is going to be such a threat, but the nano boost onto someone is going to be able to contest the cart.
Yeah, he's going to come right out of the door, get that effects of the nano boost. Actually, it looks like the nano's going to go on to Merit here, so they don't actually use it onto someone, as Merit gets the benefits of this nano. And
Kevster's not typing C9 anymore in chat. Yeah, there you go. Someone's got to dish it back, and that's a heartbreak.
The universal language of the Overwatch League. From the top-down perspective, yeah. So, you know, Danteh here is someone comes out. I wonder if that nano is actually meant for someone, and Merit is just kind of like in the way, right? As walks away, you know, Kevster here, Kevster darts away.
Slasher just gets too far. Oh, he gets pushed. He gets trying to make that leap. He's trying to get around someone, and he just sort of hits his character model and gets pushed off to the side. Oh, that's a hard one for the Gladiators.
Let's see how they try and break this high ground. The Gladiators had a very difficult time. Needed like a heroic play from Kevster to do so.
How does that happen?
And Merit just with a few headshots takes out Kai on the high ground. This may open it up.
Yeah, it's opened up for sure. They're going to Nano'd Danteh, hoping he can get into the backline and trade this back, but they've pretty much conceded this high ground with a great stick onto Lastro. Danteh can't find any value with that nano boost, and the Gladiators are crumbling right now, Matt. They're really struggling. They're in desperation mode.
Gladiators, right? They didn't really get great value out of the Nano and the Primal up in the high ground. Florida Mayhem have that. Great tools to be able to break this. Let's see how they combo it.
They need to play aggressive in the same way that Mayhem did. As soon as any aggression comes out, they need to match it. So we see an aggressive nade coming out from Babel, not really respecting someone. They just don't have enough pressure in the same way that the Florida Mayhem did. Someone got up there without a nano boost, had enough time to pop the Primal. Danteh is responding with the Primal of his own. Those couple of kills could spell a lot, as much as he will eventually go down, the Gladiators should come back with a numbers advantage, but Florida Mayhem dictating the tempo right now. But with all of their ultimates used to win that fight, only Checkmate with a pulse bomb, and you can see him lurk
just whole high ground
in the back right. Yeah, this needs to be a big pulse bomb for Checkmate for the Florida Mayhem.
And if you're Florida, you lost players, you get that high ground, and it's a stick on the Lastro. That is huge. You do have a nano here for the Gladiators. It's just how do you use this to keep players alive? They have to use it on Danteh. He was so low and then took that magnetic grenade and wasn't going to live, so they use it just for the health. He gets slept again. He gets taken out. It's just Kai with a dead eye. Not even sure he's going to be able to get great value out of it. In the corner, gets pushed back here. Has to use it to just get a reload, as it looks like someone is slept. So maybe you get your tank back in the mix, you get out as Kevster trying to stay on a contest. He gets knocked off for a brief period. It's going to be rally for both teams.
Yeah, they have enough sustainability with that rally, but they've used so many of their cooldowns. Someone does get traded for Danteh, but with Babel going down, they're going to lose so much of their healing, and they're just slowly bleeding out to all the damage as Lastro, the raid boss at the very end, does fall, and Florida Mayhem take a 2-0 advantage in this grand final series right now, and the Gladiators aren't going to be able to deal with that. It's impossible to close that distance, so it's about navigating around that you can apply pressure onto someone. But with the nano boost up for Rupal, someone's going to be able to dictate whenever he wants to go, and now is that time.
Yeah, he jumps right on top of the supports. Finds FunnyAstro is he's going to be able to just Lucian wall ride, maybe get out. He's going to jump back. It's going to be Danteh on the point, using Nemesis form, trying to push it across the line. He's so slow, and that's going to be Annihilation. Annihilation plus a double kill with a pulse bomb, and that's going to be the first point taken for the Gladiators.
And this is, keep an eye on how Danteh plays the Ramatra, especially against this Winston style. He did this against the Houston Outlaws, where he just becomes an anchor in the front line, as we see Kevster get this 2K pulse bomb. I think he sticks someone, and someone chooses Churong to die with him, you know, together at the end of the day. But Dante's going to try and run down the backline of the Florida Mayhem. If this starts working, you're going to see a lot more of this Ramatra comp in this series, because Florida Mayhem right now do not have an answer. They don't have any ultimates right now, but the Gladiators are just slowly pushing this cart. There goes the hack and the aggression as Merit picks up a 3K as a Sombra, finishing off all the targets, and Danteh will go down last. And that's really how you have to deal with it if you're the Florida Mayhem. If you try and bring down the Ramatra, that's just so much space the rest of the team is going. You need to really deal with the backline, deal with everyone else before you take down that Ramatra. Whoa, okay. All right, Danteh, maybe we stop cooking now. Maybe we stop experimenting, as he's going to come out on the Junker Queen of all things.
Yeah, this is an odd choice here from the Gladiators. I'm interested to see how it works, though, as the Jungle Queen got some buffs. I mean, it's not really recently now, but definitely got some adjustments to got her a little bit more self-survivable. So see if they're able to get over the line. It's a really good kind of point and like really straight and narrow path for Junker Queen to be able to make plays here, but we have not really seen it throughout this entire tournament. I'm trying to think if we saw anybody else run Jungle Queen. I feel like it's if it has been used, it's maybe one or two other times.
The problem with Junker Queen is she doesn't really help the rest of your team survive, and the big issue that they're having right now is keeping Babel alive right now with that Ana. Did you say that's okay? No, hey, that was the most tank thing I've ever heard in my life, because you see Danteh walking up, but they don't really want to deal with him until he overextends, and then they can just choose the tempo of the game. I'm not in love with this Junker Queen pick, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you're looking for like the commanding shout, right? Like, obviously still at adds a little bit more survivability. Maybe you're looking at that with Biotic Grenade and like boops, and you can kind of live through, and you get the Junker Queen like rolling in terms of like putting up leads and getting that health regen. Maybe that's what you're trying to aim for here. So see Merit though. He knows he has an enemy here, letting everybody else know he's got an enemy here as well. It's going to be a hack. Oh, you don't even have to use the EMP, Scott, as Florida just churning through the Gladiators now.
Yeah, you can see the Gladiators just every time they get even close to walking up, the Florida Mayhem are just waiting for them. Merit's invisible, pinging everyone, letting his team know when the time to go is, and they're just winning with one ultimate after one ultimate. We're actually going to see Babel switch over to the Kiriko, recognizing that they just can't live playing the Ana. It's just so difficult with how coordinated the dive is. Babel has died 7 times in this map so far, Matt.
Yeah, and Rupal's hit so many fantastic bio grenades, right? You get a cleanse there in the mix, and maybe you can survive it a little bit better, as Danteh will have his ultimate as well. Looks like Danteh hit with a Biotic Grenade, and the EMP comes through. It's going to be Sound Barrier here as well for the Gladiators. Yeah, Deadeye here looking for something too. It's just going to be used to just keep players back. Is someone with Primal. It's Caillou gets hacked. They're not able to keep him alive.
He only hits someone with that Rampage from the Junker Queen, so the value not really there. As the overtime wick ticks down, you can see in the sound barrier from Chorong, the Gladiators are just running out of health as Babel's just trying to live, but does fall. So it's only Danteh and FunnyAstro left on the card, and now it's just Danteh fighting for his life as a Junker Queen. We've all been here before. There is a Widowmaker switch from Kai, hoping for some headshot after headshot magic, but not able to find a map.
Still, considering we haven't seen this map that much, and I know obviously you played it in ranked, I played it a ton as well. Like, it can be really difficult to push on this map. So it's not a map completion, but we also really kind of don't know what really is a great or bad push on this map.
Which I think all Gladiator fans can sort of breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, I'd love to know kind of the thought process behind the Junker Queen. Is Merit cleaning it up in the kill feed, just peppering all those players down and finishing them off as Sombra. Then as soon as they realize he's there, he leaves. The
consistent factor throughout this entire series for me is Babel needs to stay alive. They have really struggled to keep him alive. FunnyAstro said in his interview after their match earlier today, my job is just to keep Babel alive. He needs to do a better job, and so does the rest of the Gladiators, because right now the aggressive style of the Mayhem is just too much to deal with. And I like this look from them. Go first. Don't let Florida Mayhem choose the tempo, because that gives you the advantage.
Yeah, and it's really, as the Gladiators kind of clean up this fight, it's really not been just a Gladiator exclusive thing about keeping supports alive against the Florida Mayhem, because quite frankly, nobody has really been able to do it throughout the entire tournament, as Florida Mayhem's dives have been so clean. But already, 2 minutes left on the clock. The Gladiators putting up a pretty good defense. This is a great spot to hold. You have high ground here. Now we look at the next fight about to kick off. You have Annihilation. You have Nano. It's going to be an EMP, and they do get the Nano off. And it looks like it was the Nano on a Kai here, as he's actually going to use the Deadeye. It's going to buy some space. As you see, Kevster from his POV is actually going to push up, get onto the payload. So wants to stop the payload from moving on forward. It's going to be a translocate to get away. Checkmate with a pulse. Nice job by FunnyAstro.
I don't know how he managed to time that one. I don't know if that was just luck or he's just seeing the future. But FunnyAstro's sound barrier keeps Babel alive just long enough to help them win that team fight. And that is such a big team fight win here for the Gladiators, because that was a lot of the big ultimates for the Mayhem. They do have the sound barrier, they do have the nano boost, but because Danteh went down so early, he still has that annihilation. This is getting scary if you're the Mayhem right now.
Oh, that sound barrier from FunnyAstro was like to the frame when the pulse bomb was going to go off. And look at this, Kevster now starting to win some of these Tracer duels, right? This is what kind of scares you when you go up against a team like the LA Gladiators. Is we went from 2 minutes to now under a minute on the clock, and the Mayhem have made no more progress.
Yeah, and I do want to give a shout out to Kevster, because he hit a stick on Rupal in the fight before this as well. Like, he has been carrying in the backlines. As much as we haven't seen him that much, he is popping off as he always does. We see the nano boost come into someone, but gets slept instantly by Babel as the backline for the Gladiators is coming alive, Matt.
Yeah, it's a nice leap there, and it's going to be Nano on the other side of things. Is the Annihilation gets popped here too, as they're trying to burn down someone. So when someone gets in, they always use that field to slow him down, keep him there, and then they just turn their attention and burn him down. That has been so effective. 13 seconds on the clock. They know Merit's around here. They want to stop the contest.
Yeah, they're trying to find Merit. He's hiding behind the chairs. Unfortunately, they could not find him, but he doesn't have that EMP anyway, so even if he does get to, he's going to be able to contest, but it's not going to be with much, as they don't have any ultimates left in the tank.
Triggered.
Yeah, overtime's triggered. We're going to see an even fight here as Kai is going to get to this high noon. He decides to drop down to find some value as kevster finds an opening pick again.
Kai's got this dead eye, could just kind of force everybody off of the payload. It's going to be a mag grenade going to the sky there to take out someone. Another headshot there, as the Gladiators have found something that works. They will take Shambali in their first map in the series. And man, you play that Ramatra comp, you can actually really make some moves here for the Gladiators.
The backline is just under siege right now, under so much pressure, and it can be difficult, especially in this setup, to deal with the high ground, especially now that Rupal has this nano boost. Whichever door this Gladiators team tries to go through, they are going to get met by the someone Winston with a nano boost and a primal.
Yeah, and you were right, Scott. Babel with 33 deaths in the series.
Wow.
Even more than Danteh does lead the server, which it has been pretty tough keeping him alive. And I think that Babel's actually been incredible throughout the entire event.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it says more about how clean the Florida Mayhem dives.
Yeah, this isn't a new revelation that the Florida Mayhem are good at diving. That's the thing that they've been so good at so far. As we are going to see a bit of a brawl. Checkmate hits that stick onto Kai and then takes down Babel as well. Another sleep goes onto Dante's Ramatra, so he's not able to find value with that nano boost, but they are trying to keep this fight going. Sound barrier from Chodong to keep the sustainability for Rupal, but the annihilation from Danteh, he wants to win this fight, but he does go down.
Yeah, and I think you need to invest into that fight because you know how important these first checkpoints are, as it's going to be first checkpoint here taken for Florida Mayhem. So that's going to move that spawn up, and that's going to be Danteh making that switch back onto the Winston. Actually onto Kai, threw someone off there a little bit because he thought he could jump in, had the remnants of the nano, and was going to be able to live through some of that damage inside of his bubble and get a primal of his own and keep it going. But with that extra big burst of damage coming out from the Cassidy with the nano boost, not able to live, as looks like Florida want to try and maybe take a fight here before the checkpoint. They don't play for the checkpoint though, they go for the high ground.
Yeah, they go for the high ground. Another important sleep onto someone on that Winston while he is primal raging, but the damage is done. The space is created. Unless Kevster decides to make some magic, this should be a team fight going for the Florida Mayhem. Danteh's going to commit into this fight with the primal rage. Wants to keep going. Yeah, Rupal goes down as well. They've lost that healing. Great recognition from Kevster and Danteh to realize they can keep this fight going. And because that checkpoint was taken as well, Matt, at the start of that fight, that's forward spawns for the Gladiators. So they've already reinforced their team.
I like that decision because not only do you kind of get this next fight rather quickly, even if they were to lose that, right, and the bot keeps going further and further into Mayhem territory, that is just further that the Florida Mayhem need to push the bot going in completely opposite direction. So sound barrier comes down here for FunnyAstro. That'll keep everybody all topped up, as the bot will now start to push the barrier further into Florida Mayhem territory. As one of the interesting parts for me as well is this is what the Gladiators playing dive. Like they're playing them straight up, right in front. As that time went on, so you don't actually have that nano for the Winston. It ends up going on the Cassidy, but regardless, the damage is done. Now with only 2 minutes on the clock, look at the lead here for the Gladiators.
Yeah, we're back at the starting territory with the bot being right in the middle, as both teams are going to trade a dive. Danteh going in, but doesn't have the nano for himself or a primal rage. The nano goes over to Merit, but he hasn't been able to find too much value, as we see traded Annas, so healing is low now. So with every damage that is done is going to be even more important, as the Gladiators are getting the better of this fight, but someone still thinks it's winnable, Matt.
I mean, yeah, I feel like do you have to start kind of throwing into this here if you're Florida? I mean, you need about almost 40 meters in terms of progress. You need to win every single fight. And you take a look at this replay here real quick from Kai's POV. Kind of wraps around this outside here.
Oh, wow. And that's the Kai that we know and love. And this is the Kai that the Gladiator... Oh, wow, that was great shooting. That is the Kai that the Gladiators need.
I mean, if you're Florida and you run this back, I feel like it's you know, one of those basketball highlight videos where everybody runs on the court and screams it's over. Just end the series there. It's Florida. I mean, we just have insane momentum.
I will say, Gladiators committed a lot to get it that far.
But you're gonna have,
Florida Mayhem has ultimates.
But you're gonna have like 4 or 5 fights here, Scott. I imagine you have like at least 3 or 4 fights. So that's gonna be Danteh going in. Sound barrier exchanged. You're still fine, right? Back up. Yeah. You traded 1 life for sound barrier. Still in a fantastic spot. No panic yet here.
They can't get staggered here. If they lose another team fight here for what feels like free, I think someone thought about that primal.
He did.
He was so close to pressing that Q button of trying to follow up that biotic grenade. They nano Kai to apply some pressure. It should force the primal rage out of someone, but if you're the Gladiators right now, you're just trying to do damage control. Take down someone as much as you can. They don't have the nano boost. He's so low, and Danteh finds him.
I was going to say, you absolutely needed to finish him off there. You could not have let someone get back to the rest of the team. It's the kills coming in here for the Gladiators that they need. Sound barrier as well. It's another sleep from Rupal on to Danteh, but you're just losing everybody else here for the Florida Mayhem as Charung picks up 1. Kevster, though, cleaning it up. It looks like it's just Checkmate there as the Gladiators will tie us up as they win Esperanza.
As we go over to Nepal, as you said, Matt, mirror compositions as we're going into the first fight. The Florida Mayhem opting to take the control of the point, taking that statue, while the Gladiators having their backline in a more defensible setup, I would say, with the stairs. The Florida are going to go first.
I mean, someone in Checkmate dive on in, but another biotic grenade there. You see the honest is in the feed there. Man, you know, what do you do? Like when they set up that type of dive and they get that Ana grenade in there and you have Checkmate coming on through with someone, it feels like there's players that just drop instantly there for the Gladiators.
Players just, it's kind of hard to say, but Kai just needs to be careful. He can't be in a place that he can be so isolatable. We saw Babel having that issue. He's improved as the series has gone on and made a lot more value from the backline. It's going to be difficult, but these Bionades from Rupal and from Babel, you just need to avoid them because they're so teamfight defining as the Gladiators sort of feign some pressure but take too much damage as Danteh tries to jump back but does go down. As pretty easy teamfight win from the Florida Mayhem again.
Yeah, look at this position from Rupal just playing so aggressive with the rest of the team as another fight goes in favor of the Florida Mayhem rather quickly. Just kind of taking a stake of where we at in terms of ultimates. Scott, Florida Mayhem is about to just rack them up 4, maybe 5 as the Gladiators are not even close. This could get ugly pretty quick.
And you got to be careful about this snowballing out of here, and you need to recognize this if you're the Gladiators. You know they're going to have that nano boost. You know they're going to have that pulse bomb, the high noon. So you got to be careful. Another enormous biotic grenade onto the backline of the Gladiators. No punish there for the Mayhem, but they do have the ultimates online now, as expect them to pull the trigger on this one, on the nano boost especially.
Yeah, the nano goes into someone. He actually gets slept there, but they wake him up as I think just some AoE damage there does that. As, man, that is another fight for Florida Mayhem. It is a clean one. As feels like every time we saw from Rupal's perspective there, they didn't capitalize upon a double biotic grenade onto the supports. Gladiators are lucky that fight didn't start and end even earlier, as Florida looking to put this one away. Probably one more fight is all they need to take this first round.
Yeah, and they have the ultimates up for themselves now, so Dante's going to be able to have that offensive power, as they're just going to opt to run past Danteh. They drop the sound barrier, run past the Nano and the Winston, apply some pressure and just take down the backline. Such smart heads-up play by the Florida Mayhem, recognizing that they don't have an advantage to be able to have the sustainability, so just ignore everything the Gladiators are going to throw at you. The sound barrier does come out from FunnyAstro to get a final touch, but Dante's dwindling down, and it's just desperation at this point.
So the clock dwindles down, and that is a statement there from the Florida Mayhem.
A singular final blow coming out from the Los Angeles Gladiators.
It could have been worse. Could have been worse.
By 1, yeah. I'll give you that one.
Still, could be worse.
That is true. But as I said, coming into this map, Nepal plays very differently on all 3 of the rounds. This is a lot more of a brawl-sided one as we go over to Villages. We get to see Checkmate lurking around on this Tracer. This was the initial dive that won them that first team fight, and just got a lot more in position than we see the Gladiators are.
I will say it has been, last season and this season to see Checkmate get to play DPS and not Reinhardt.
I like this Reinhardt. It was one of the Reinhardts that we've had in the Overwatch League, and it was funny to watch. But fortunately, they have someone to play the Reinhardt as we go over to this village map. And Danteh on the Ramatra.
Yeah, but to answer that Ramatra, look at this. They have a May in the mix here for the Florida Mayhem, the May walls, and then the Bastion. So Bastion able to pump out tons of damage in his Wheels mode. That's officially called Sentry mode, but with us, it's called Wheels mode.
It's called Wheels mode, yeah.
It makes it really difficult. I mean, look at Kevster taking the big body shots here, trying to put so much pressure on the Danteh, and they're doing a great job keeping Danteh alive. They're not actually able to put down as much pressure as you would think.
That was the fastest window I've ever seen. Rupal gets the window down, just permanently healing Merit. Kevster's trying his best to take him down. They do trade 1-for-1, but with Danteh going down, they just don't have that frontline presence. We're going to see someone try to go aggressive, but it should be a first point cap. But the power of the DPS line of the Gladiators trying to get pressure on, but it will not be enough with Kai and Kevster going down to Checkmate on the May. Get a couple of nice icicles.
It'll end up being a point take here for the Florida Mayhem early. Some changes, right, as Merit now goes over to the Cassidy. I wonder if the Hanzo was like an answer to the Bastion. I mean, Hanzo's also pretty good at like circumventing the May walls as opposed to like Cassidy.
We've seen a lot of Hanzo in the Brawl matchup so far throughout this tournament, but we're going to see a Nano onto Danteh. There's going to be the Annihilation, I would expect. He makes it outside of the Blizzard. No, he gets pinned back into the Blizzard, but he lives long enough to pop that Annihilation. Sound barrier from FunnyAstro. They're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at it. The Shatter goes a little wide, and someone's getting low, but the flip does come through for the Gladiators. After all their ultimates, they do get an advantage.
Yeah, it's going to be an Ant Matrix here from Rupal, though, and it's going to be everybody able to stay alive here for the Florida Mayhem. I mean, they lose Chorong, but Rupal able to keep everybody up in that side room, and just 11% goes over to the Gladiator.
And just how hard you are to isolate as a Doomfist. We've seen a lot of players trying it. Danteh making it look good right now. I wasn't sold on it, but he just is a nuisance that the Florida Mayhem don't have a way to deal with. The counterpunch comes through into the high noon, but wasn't able to get it. The sound barrier to keep everybody alive, but Danteh is also alive. Look, they just can't kill him.
Damage. I mean, yeah, they hit it with a bio, a sleep. I mean, everything there. It's gonna come with a seismic slam around the outside. And Danteh, when we saw Doomfist obviously make his debut as a tank, Danteh was one of the best as he is put into great use here. I mean, look at this, up on the high ground like a raid boss throughout this point. At Florida, they went down to go get a touch, but does not work out as the Gladiators, they find another different composition they can make work.
Yeah, and Danteh, like, if Doomfist didn't go to a tank, we might not even see Danteh on tank in the role. He mainly switched to play that Doomfist, as you said, Matt. If we see Babel switching off of this Ana at some point, but deciding to opt into it right now, but it's going to be difficult as Merit is on that Cassidy as well, just sort of pumping out damage, a lot more consistent than the Hanzo he started on.
Yeah, and I wonder where you would even kind of consider going to, as that's going to be the Checkmate Pulse Bomb. Doesn't get anything there, so good for the Gladiators as you're getting very close to now. Rupal gets low, TP through the wall, but here's Danteh with a follow-up. He gets hit with a Biotic Grenade, though. Maybe it was just bait. They take out the tank for the Gladiators.
Yeah, Danteh just doesn't have that follow-up and support, or just the healing that he was getting from Battle on the last round, so he's just slowly burning down to the
fun way to counter the magnetic grenade.
Yeah, that works. Take this.
Yeah, magnetic grenade from downtown. You know, it gets shot right back at you there. As the Mayhem, they stay in control of the point. It's quite natural, obviously, but it's just the fact that you're losing fights and not forcing Florida to use any ultimates in the process of that, right? They're going to actually have everything to use here, as we're going to get to 99. So it'll get contested here. Gravitic Flux from someone. It's going to be the Meteor Strike here, and the Kiriko ultimate comes down at the same time as trying for... Oh, they actually get a sleep on it. Danteh, and he just gets pulled up down to the ground as they're going to come out to the other side, finish him off. That's going to be 2 more kills going in favor of the Florida Mayhem. Kai there with Babel, and he's not able to touch, and that'll be the Florida Mayhem bouncing back with another map win.
But unable to do so thus far.
Yeah, just making Kai's like very difficult, right? I know he's got to use these grapples to go over the top. And, ooh. Oh yeah, I was thinking the same. I was like, this is where he's just gonna line that headshot off and nail it. As it'll be Rupal that actually gets that first blood on the Kai.
Another one.
Out too.
Might be the backline sort of stepping up here, as Babel is also going to sort of take out a Widowmaker, as apparently Widowmakers aren't the snipers anymore, and the Baptiste are the real DPS, but that is going to be a reset for the Gladiators, and that was a long time to take a first fight. That's already almost 2 minutes off the clock. As we can see, there's kills coming out here from Rupal. There's a window.
And Ant Matrix here, it's like almost an Ant Matrix for themselves. I mean, dude, you see the flicks, you actually see them go to the same type of thing. Like maybe we see someone make a change here, potentially over to like the Winston. No, Merritt's gonna go back. He's actually going to play the Widowmaker.
Yeah, and you know, Checkmate is going over to the Genji as well. So Merit goes back to the Widowmaker, Checkmate on the Genji. Some weird swaps coming in from Mayhem. I'm a resident Genji disliker, especially in this meta so far. It doesn't feel like you find a lot of value, but Merit always finds value on that Widowmaker. And because Kai has switched over to that Hanzo, they don't have anyone to contest this Widowmaker, as Blaster is going to use this Transcendence to try and hold on, as Kevster gets another big stick. Choron goes down, but Merit is still finding these picks. Danteh. Okay, Danteh is low health. He has very little to hold on to, but Kevster on that Tracer is still applying that pressure, going to force Merit back, as someone on that Sigma is just anchoring down. There is no swaps coming in from the Gladiators. They want to stick to this greedy Baptiste Zenyatta style, which is going to be hard against this aggressive Genji look from Checkmate, as he's charging this blade up quite quickly. But Gladiators, nothing to really do, trying to take this positioning, as we see Merit holding the angle, unable to find anything. And this window is such an impossible place for the Gladiators to dislodge Merit from. As you can see, Kevster trying to apply some pressure, but just constantly pushed away as the window goes down from Rupal, takes out the Immortality Field, and trades off of the Baptiste. And that is going to be another hold here for the Florida Mayhem, as the Gladiators, only 2 minutes remaining, but a kill from Kevster onto Checkmate that could potentially open a door up for the Gladiators, as that was not a cheap fight for the Florida Mayhem, having to use that walls, which is so important in keeping Kevster in check. Rupal using that window, and now they have a window of their own for the Gladiators, as Babel has been so impressive on this hero so far.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see now a Gravitic Flux here. Looks like from Danteh is it's going to be the Immortality Field that actually saves some of the players in the Florida Mayhem. Now it's going to be a Gravitic Flux on the other end here. No, Dragon Blade comes on through. It's going to be Checkmate who gets one. The cart's still moving here for the Glads, but just a little bit more progress. But man, costly for both teams there. Ant Matrix, Gravitic Flux. You know, you had the Blade come through at the end there for the Florida Mayhem. But still, only a minute to go. As Scott, we're going to see Danteh make the switch here. Now going over to the Winston.
I think this is a good switch, especially like when you saw the Genji come out. That's such a punishable pick, but it felt like they were just letting them play into it. And Lastro and the backline of Babel haven't really been able to find too much value with the threat from the back from Merit and the aggression from Checkmate in the front, as you know, they're going to slowly start to build ultimates up. But with only 40 seconds remaining, they might not get to a Primal Rage or a Nano Boost, so they're going to have to deal with it with just this Pulse Bomb from Kevster and this Transcendence from Lastro.
Checkmate just pestering here, just making sure Kevster just doesn't flank from the side, kill all his supports. Lastro getting close to a Transcendence here as well, but oh wait, how you lose high? Oh, that is difficult when he goes down to the Sigma. Maybe just some poke damage there. You're going to lose Lastro here as well, as he's not going to burn that Transcendence. This might be it. I mean, you may not actually get like a really good, you know, final fight here.
Yeah. Florida Mayhem always know when to put on that gas pedal. They see that the Gladiators are weak and they're not leaving, and that will be a hold on the second point, and not even all the way the distance of the second point isn't pushing forward. That might have been a misstep from the Florida Mayhem. They might have to take on another fight just here, as Kevster looks poised to contest once again.
Yeah, and they're going to use the infra sights, so they're going to know exactly what they're going up against when they turn this corner, as they know that Checkmate's above. Going to be a hit on the Venom Mine there, as Charong so low, but he's going to be able to live on through it, as Kai needs to land one of these shots. It's going to be an Ant Matrix coming down here for the Florida Mayhem. Rupal just trying to keep everybody alive here. Immortality Field too, as they're going to lose Danteh right on the point. The Pulse Bomb comes down from Kevster. They've been great all day, and he's going to get one, but it is not going to be enough. This is going to be the first checkpoint. It should be the first checkpoint going to the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, and now they have to hold even more. I'm curious to see if Lastro is going to make a switch. He's close to that Transcendence, so he's going to stick with it, but they just haven't been able to find the value with this Baptiste Zen. That offensive capability just is not there, as Kevs is going to say, you know what, you're playing Genji, I'll play Genji as well.
At this point, do you need the Transcendence for this Blade, right? I mean, what do you switch to, right? Like, you know, you could play Brig, but that's not something we've seen them do, like Brig Baptiste. If you were going to play like a Lucio, Lastro wouldn't be in the game, right? So you almost like, you're kind of like committed here on this Zen play.
Yeah, and I want to shout, you know, Kai, he needs to be the player to step up. He only has one final blow in this map so far. It's such a Widow-sided and orientated map, and Merit's just been getting the better of this. Kai needs to step up if the Gladiators are going to hold.
And look at that, Chorong pops the rally. It's going to be an Amp Matrix here from Babel, but they try to just push through with the rally to Danteh in the high ground. And it looks like they're willing to take that trade of, you know, giving away their rally for the Amp Matrix on the other side. They're still trying to make a play for this high ground. It's going to be Kevster coming in here on the back line. It's going to be Gravitic Flux. This could be huge. They're going to get rid of Danteh. Someone's going to push forward, take out Babel as well. As this could be it. Yeah, Lastro needs to transcend. And he knows the Blight's on the outside. He didn't get it off. That's going to be everybody down as the Florida Mayhem escorting the payload towards the finish.
I don't think with any swaps coming out from Danteh or the Widowmaker from Kai, they're not going to be able to make it. The Flux does come out onto someone, but Babel gets taken out by Merit as he tries to touch, and the Florida Mayhem will continue a lossless series of the entire Pro-Am tournament and close out against the Los Angeles Gladiators 4-2 to win the Pro-Am West.
And the Florida Mayhem, your champions here of the Pro-Am, and they were just lights out from start to finish. So many people, as someone does some kind of dance. I am not up to date on that one. I mean, he's chucking all the moves in there at once. But I mean, they were unbelievable throughout this tournament, Scott. Everybody came in. We were talking about the shock. We were talking about the return of Bird Ring, the Atlanta rain.
Another thing I took away from the Pro-Am, especially from this last match, is Rupal is an absolute goat. So it is a great pleasure that I get to be the one to announce our Pro-Am Finals MVP. It is Rupal himself. And he's for an interview. Rupal, you're our MVP. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Of course, of course. Right, so that was an intense game. You guys started off looking so very dominant, but then suddenly the Gladiators came alive. How do you think the Gladiators managed to kind of, you know, crawl back into the game and make it so competitive?
I think they were really good at the Ramatra comp, and we struggled a lot with dealing with it. It was pretty hard for us to work around it, because usually we're used to just setting up dives on the backline, and we just like one-shot them. But every time I would try nade, Danteh would just run on me, and it made the game so hard.
Rupal, before I ask my question, I just want to say you absolutely popped off today. Your play today was just such a joy to watch. What I want to ask is about the team Florida Mayhem. Like, I did talk to Chorong after your first match today. He said that, you know, Florida Mayhem is unique because it's a mixed roster and you guys sort of really trust each other, and that's what makes you guys really strong, right? I want to hear your thoughts, Rupal. Like, what sets Florida Mayhem apart from any other Overwatch League teams?
I think the team is really just stacked with talent. I think pretty much every player is at least, outside of me, is at least top 3 in the role. Like, Chorong is one of the best Lucios, someone is one of the best Monkeys, and Merit's one of the best Trees, Cassidy's.
Yeah.
We're all just really talented.
You guys showcase that. That is so easy to see now, and I think that after the Pro-Am, you're on everybody's radars. Like, Florida Mayhem is the team to beat. Now, looking ahead to like the start of the regular season, Rupal, what can we expect from you? Is it going to be more of the Ana, maybe more of the Baptiste? Are we going to see Lifeweaver, perhaps?
Yeah, I might bust out the Lifeweaver. It was pretty fun.
Nice!
Let's go!
Well, we have a lot to look forward to then. Then also, Rupal, of course, I don't know if you saw it somewhere on your screen, but there's a very fancy little MVP trophy waiting to be reunited with its owner, which is you. This is the one you're going to take home. So once again, congratulations. What an insane crack performance. Those sleep darts, man. You're the one to beat.
Clean.
You're the one people want on their team. You guys are on everyone's radar, and we're so excited to see more from the Florida Mayhem in this regular season. Congrats again, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Right on. Now, of course, not
Wow.
only will he be awarded with the MVP title and the trophy, he and his team will also be walking away with $50,000 US for their prize pool. That's right, we had a chunk. Now, of course, the Gladiators got themselves $20,000 into the pockets, and the Outlaws and Toronto Defiant walked away with $10K each. Fantastic
Money good.
games. Money is good. Overwatch is good. Teams are